Have you ever heard of the word SEO, the acronym SEO? Have you ever heard of the term search engine optimization? Are you trying to get into that space? Are you trying to do some research on whether you need it for your business, like you're outside of the technical field? Well, here's the thing. My name is Mark Szymanski. I've owned a WordPress development agency for over 4 years, and I've had a lot of experience. I've done SEO for myself. I've purchased SEO from other people that offer the service as subcontractor. I've worked with it on a bunch of different projects. I've worked with people that also provided and worked alongside people on different projects. I have a lot of thoughts, and I'd like to educate you on kind of my experience of it. And obviously, take this video, give your thoughts, throw them in the comments down below, but also go watch other things because I'm not the absolute authority on this, but I am giving you my personal experience completely candidly and transparently. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, from my experience, the SEO, the acronym, that term is a huge buzzword, like everywhere, in every industry. It doesn't matter if you're in the technical space or if you're in just any other home service industry, or it doesn't matter what it is. It's a buzzword. The reason it's a buzzword is because it has kind of been co-opted into something that is definitely important and is definitely an awesome strategy. I'm not here to say SEO doesn't work or anything like that. It definitely can work. But it is a buzzword, and it's positioned as, in the general populace, from my opinion, as like, you need it. You don't need it. And the reason you don't need it is because there's other ways of reaching the exact same end result. If you go to somebody, or if somebody markets you for SEO, they are going to say, get more leads, or they're going to say, get more people to your website, get more traffic. There are other ways to do that. Ultimately, traffic leads to conversions, right? Ideally, there's a percentage there of how many people come to your website, as to the percentage of them that actually convert. You don't need SEO to do that. There's other alternatives. There is paid advertising via Google or Facebook or whatever that will do the same type of thing. There is social media that you could just organic content out there on different platforms that pull people in. I like SEO. Don't get confused here. I like SEO because it is yours. Like, for instance, quick analogy here, quick scenario. If you paid Google, like, let's say $100 a day for 2 months, right? And if you paid the G word, my stuff's going off here if I say that G word. If you pay the G word, okay, $100 a month, or $100 a day rather, for a month, you will probably get a lot of leads coming to your website because they do a very good job at servicing the cost per click, the people that you put those ads out there, and they know the demographic that you're trying to hit, or you set that up and everything like that. And those people will come to your website. You will definitely get leads. You might get conversions depending on how good your stuff is and all that. But that's, from the website side of things, it's a little bit different and off topic of what we're talking about here. My point is that you will get leads from paid ads. You will get leads from possibly posting on social media or doing any other type of advertising method. SEO is very, very good because it's yours, it's on your website, nobody can take it away from you. If you stop paying for those ads, you're going to stop getting the leads. But SEO is something you can build up over time, and it is ultimately going to help your brand exponentially because it's your website and it's something that you should be kind of focused on. The caveat, though, is that SEO isn't, again, the only play, but it's not something that you absolutely need to pay for. You should pay for it if you don't know what you're doing, but you should probably also educate yourself on it so you don't get swindled. And that's part of what I want to talk about here in this video. So let's take a step back now and let's understand what SEO actually is when compared to those other things. SEO is really a combination of two things with strategy built into them. When you hear SEO, there's kind of two types mainly. There's on-page SEO, which I will define, and there's backlinking. Those two things together, again, some of this is oversimplification, but those two things together ultimately, which I will explain, create a theoretical, and it might depend on different scales, but ultimately we'll just call it authority of your website. This is very, very simple to understand when you don't look at it technically. There are many people in your life that you probably see as an authority figure in one space or another. I'm not talking about just parents or whatever. I'm saying there are people in your life that, based on their reputation of how they've dealt with you and other people and the knowledge that they espouse or the way that they handle themselves, you see them as good, like good people, like authority figures. Not authority over you, but like authority in whatever they're doing, whatever their space is. It is the exact same thing for websites. It's the exact same thing. If your website has good content on it and is respected by other websites, which is really the examples that's the definition that I'll give of these other two things. If they are, then your website is going to have high authority, and Google and other search engines are going to see that. They're going to recognize that through their algorithms, and they're going to promote you because they're in the business of promoting high authority websites. It's really that simple. Like it doesn't get any more complex than that. What I get upset with is SEO experts that make it more complex than that, which it can get more complex, but like at the very, very baseline, that is it. So let's take a step back and say on-page SEO. On-page SEO is technical in a way, but it's not complex. On-page SEO is literally you have a page on a website and that page has content on it, which we'll get to, but it also has like a title of that page. There's things called title tags and meta descriptions. All it is literally the title of the page. When Google's looking through everything, it's got to like kind of organize everything. It has like a title to the page and has like a short description of the page. If you've ever looked at a Google search result, you see these two things kind of like when you're searching. The title of the page has to be appropriate to the content on the page and has to be in line with what the person's searching for on Google. That's it. Again, you can get more complex. You could target specific like keywords and everything like that. And I'm not saying don't go to a SEO expert for those types of things, but that at its core, it's literally it. Okay. And then the same thing with the description. There's certain requirements that they want you to have, certain lengths of descriptions and things like that are better optimized. Okay. And you might want to put some keywords in there to make sure that you're targeting what you want. But ultimately, the biggest thing that like an SEO expert would provide for you, because I'll get to another point in a second here that I really dislike with some. The biggest thing that a good SEO expert would provide you is the strategy part. Like understanding, like helping you understand what you should be targeting. Okay? If you're in the home service industry, for instance, there is a set of keywords, not a specific set, but like ask you questions about your business and then figure out like, okay, do some little bit of keyword research, they'll call it. And it's like, what things should we be, what is our ideal client typing into Google? And then we need to take whatever they're typing in, basically, and kind of put that into our website so that Google ranks us in that search. Again, it's really that straightforward. Again, it could get more complex, but it's that straightforward. Okay, it's just matching pretty much terms with what your people are searching for. That's ultimately it. And you don't want to go crazy on that. There's discussions on like keyword stuffing, putting a bunch of keywords like just in your content. You want it to be like readable and actually valuable. But again, if we go back to it, the value is always going to win out. That's how you build that authority. All right. So on-page SEO, we talked about title, we talked about meta descriptions. The other on-page thing is just the amount of content that you have on your page. Like if you have 0 words written on the page, it's not going to rank for anything because it doesn't have any content for Google to look at and what's called index. So they they go through all the internet pages. They crawl through all the internet pages and they take that content. They just literally Google bots read the content. And then it's like, okay, if somebody searches for these types of terms, like this is something that we could show them. If there's no text on the page, you can't rank for anything because there's no text to tell people about, right? If you just had a bunch of pictures that explained it, like maybe, you could put little alt tags. We're not getting into crazy image tags and everything like that. But my point is like you could get maybe a little bit from that. But the point is there's a reason content is king. And in 2023, text is still king. I'll talk about video in a second because that's interesting. But text is still king. So you have to have content. You have to have text content on your website. And that all falls in on-page SEO. So title tags, meta descriptions, and actual content. If you know your business, write the content down. Like just write down what your clients want to hear or what you want to express to your clients. And then that is a really great start on the content on the on-page thing. So that would be like my super basic recommendation for that. Let's talk about backlinking real quick. Backlinking is a separate type of SEO, and it's one of those pieces that play into the authority. Backlinking is, again, the respect that other websites give your website. That is manifested and brought to life by something called backlinking. And all backlinks are is you have your website on the internet, right? There's billions of other websites. If any other website on the internet, let's say your website name is findittech.com. It's our website, right? If any other website on the internet, any other page links to findittech.com, like in some random blog post or in the footer of some website if you built it or something, or in a partner of yours if you're a home service company or something like that, if over on their website they link to your website, that's a backlink. So what a lot of SEO experts will tell you is that you can get featured in blogs and things like that, or you could kind of be a little more sneaky again. If you're a website developer or something, you can put your link in the footer of your clients and everything. That's a great way. Or you can get another third way is like you can get listed in directories. So like Yellow Pages or Yelp, or again, there's a million of them. UpCity, like there's a ton. Okay, those are really sites that you just kind of pay to play in a way, and you get listed on like directory things, and then you say best home service in Pittsburgh or whatever, and then you'll probably come up in a list if you set all that. Obviously takes a little bit of knowledge. I'm not saying any of this doesn't take knowledge. I'm not even again disrespecting SEO experts. I'm just telling you this way simpler than this has ever been explained to me. Okay, so that's backlinking. That's all backlinking is. It's a link to your website from some other website. That's it. That's all there is. If you can figure out, I don't care how you figure out how to do that. Just do it. There again, nuance. I'll put the nuance in there. There are some bad backlinking type strategies. Like you don't want to be completely like just throw links around on the internet and just be like, wow, like link to some random thing, link to your website for some random thing. Like there's probably a bunch of services like that. They're like, oh, I'll give you 20,000 backlinks for $10 or something. Have some common sense. There is absolutely a lot of things take work or money. Okay, so I'm not saying that don't pay, don't like cheap out and don't do any work. But I'm telling you like super simplistically what that means. Okay, so we talked about all that. Let's talk about real quick the video thing I was talking about with text and video. Here's the thing: if you pay attention and you post videos on YouTube, for instance, when you post a video on YouTube, there is a section in there. I think it's in the description now. It says show transcript. That transcript will show up in the YouTube video. Like it'll show up on the side of the YouTube video. So it's literally the words that you are saying right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, you press show transcript, it will show you the words that I'm saying. I didn't put that there. Google is smart enough to generate all that, right? YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, right behind Google, and they're owned by the same company, obviously. When you type something into YouTube or you type something into Google, you're probably going to get, like, because it's 2023 and video is huge, you are going to get results that are video in nature rather than just like blog posts or pages on the internet. Really good way for SEO. And I will give you a quick trick in here. If you do love to create video like I do, and you don't like to write like I do, you can just talk for 20 minutes and then take that transcript and use that as the content as well. So literally on my website, markjosemansky.com, I have my video. I took the transcript, I put it underneath the video. It is getting, that page now is getting the SEO value of the things that I'm saying in the video, and it has a video there. So it's like kind of like a blog post and a video, if you want to call it that. There's other methods too. You can actually like write a blog post with all that. My point is like that's a quick way to do that. What I want to tell you though, the point I want to make, because I think this gets lost, video is great. It's fantastic. I think a lot more people like watching video than reading. However, text is still king. You can't just throw a video on your, especially depending on where it's hosted. Let's take YouTube out of the equation for a second. That was a cool trick I told you, but let's take it out of the equation. Let's say you film a video and then you upload it directly to your website. That is no SEO value whatsoever. The internet, Google, crawling your website is not going to know what you're saying in that video. It's not going to know. You have to have text. So you could have like 500 extremely quality videos on your page. And if you don't have any text on any of those pages or in that gallery of videos or whatever, you're getting no SEO value. Just understand that. So that's important. Okay. All right. So let's kind of take a pause here and let's go back to like the SEO business. Okay. And I want to try to wrap this up here, as I've talked about a lot. Hopefully, just at least gives you some thoughts. Hopefully, if you agree with some things, cool. If you disagree with that, please let me know. But these are my genuine thoughts in November of 2023 with all my experience so far. Maybe it'll change in the future, but this is where we're at. Okay, so to go back to the business of SEO, everything we've explained there, like kind of what is SEO and your alternatives and everything like that. Let's talk about if you actually get approached, or if you want to sell SEO, or if you get approached to sell SEO. Because honestly, this video could be for both sides, right? There are a lot of snake oil salesmen out there. Regardless of what side you're on, you need to research what people are actually offering you for the prices that they're offering you, and see if they have any sort of portfolio. This is the biggest. I have been a purchaser of SEO services, okay? I know how to do it much more than I did 6 months ago, and I've been a purchaser of SEO services in the past. It is not that complicated, okay? But it is extremely abstract. It's extremely abstract. It can be less abstract though, and I don't like how many people make it abstract. Like if I feel called to try to sell SEO more seriously in our business, because I feel like I could just talk like this and people would at least understand and respect what I'm saying and be like, okay, it's not complicated, but there is nuance to it and there is abstraction, but at least I understand where it is. A lot of people will not explain it like that. They will be like, yeah, we'll do this weird shit under the hood of your website and this weird backlinking stuff, and your rankings will go up. That's not really true at all. Like, yeah, you're going to do weird stuff under the hood. There's no way that I've ever seen of like people like explaining exactly what they're doing to the website, because like, okay, if you're building a website, right, you're going from either nothing to a website, very visual, or you're going from an old website to a redesigned website, very visual, or you're adding a section or you're adding something or whatever. I'm not saying this is easy to sell. I'm actually saying it's very difficult to sell properly. And I wish that there would be a little bit deeper and more sophisticated like selling of this, like sales process built into this SEO thing. Because again, when you're in an industry where there's a lot of snake oil salesmen, not everybody is bad by any means. There's a lot of snake oil salesmen though, where they'll say, oh, we'll give us $7,000 this year and we'll increase your rankings by blah, 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 blah. And they don't tell you anything. And you just get like excited because you're like, wow, if I get like 100 more leads, I'll have like $70,000 more dollars, and I only paid $7,000 for this. Wow, that's good ROI. It doesn't really work like that. I'm sorry to tell you. Go try, please be my guest. The other thing is like, it gets expensive very quickly. I just did a couple bits of research. Like I saw one that said $250 a month to $3,000 for like the basic package. And then you're already at like $5,000 to $20,000 if you want to keep going up more from that. All I'm saying is if I'm spending that money, I'd like to know exactly almost what people are doing, or at least have an idea of how the service works and how like the industry works a little bit before I invest into that. So that's what I've done. And that's what I hope that you do if you're a consumer, or if you're offering the service. Please try to educate your people as much as possible. So again, it's hard to sell. It's in reality, it's not actually that complicated. And it can completely be boiled down to like, if you have the search term that people are searching for on your site, you will rank better. That's too simplistic, but that is ultimately what it is for an extreme layperson to explain that to. To wrap up like my final thoughts here on like selling SEO or buying SEO, the transactional sense, you need to have a super basic understanding at minimum of what SEO is, like we talked about earlier. You need to understand that if you are buying SEO from somebody, the general person that is selling that is probably not going to give you all of the information that you need. What's probably going to happen is you're going to ask some questions. You're going to have like, back and forth about what exactly your business does and all that sort of stuff. From there, if they are good, they will develop a keyword strategy, keyword plan, whatever they call it, for you. That's going to have like, generally it'll depend probably, but 50 to 100 keywords that you are ranking for. They're going to try to rank your content for. Here is the really big kicker though. And this is super important for both parties. There is the last point about the business of SEO. There is two parts to it that nobody really like particularly talks about or explains well from what I've seen. There is the strategy and there's the implementation, okay? And if you're new to the game, you you probably inherently like would hear this and understand, but if you don't do it, it's a real problem. Okay, if you don't explain it like this, it's a real problem. What do I mean? Strategy. Okay, let's plan. Well, the planning costs money. Okay, you're buying SEO from somebody. Okay, I'm going to tell you, you're buying SEO from me. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. I'm going to tell you all the keywords you need to rank for. I'm going to tell you all the title tags you need to change to. I'm going to tell you all the meta descriptions. I'm going to tell you what kind of content you should produce. You're going to pay me for that. And honestly, a lot of times people do it monthly. So it's like, this is the part that really messes with me. I don't understand the pricing model of the SEO industry right now. This is a little bit of a rant, but it's important to you because, again, you have to understand it. How are you charging monthly for something that isn't really defined? You're not accurately reporting exactly like everything you're doing, and there's no time involved. Like, there is time involved, but there's no like actual amount of time to the amount of money that is being spent. So if you're spending $500 a month on SEO, what are you getting for that? Like, what are the tasks that were completed? What is the value that was being achieved? And again, we're not going into a conversation about hourly pricing versus value-based pricing. I get all that. But especially in the first 6 months of SEO, if you've never done any before to your website, you're not going to get any results really. Like it's almost like you have to, there's, especially if your website's already like established, but it's not good, like you're not really going to see any real uptick because you have to create content, you have to get indexed, you have to get ranked, basically. So everybody will tell you that too. A good SEO person will say, like, this isn't overnight. Okay, got that. But like, what are we doing? The transparency needs to be like turned up like 16 notches, okay, for me. And then the last bit is, again, if you are paying for SEO, there is strategy and there's implementation. What's probably going to happen to you, because I've seen it happen to many, is you're going to think, okay, this SEO person is going to do a bunch of stuff for my website and it's going to be great and everything like that. There's strategy to pick those keywords and to write those things and everything like that. And then there's also implementation. Implementation is actually putting it on the website, actually, like, not just putting it in like an Excel spreadsheet, like actually putting it on the website, the title tags, meta descriptions, all that. And actually, potentially, and I'm not saying this wouldn't cost more, but you have to understand that this is an added cost, making more content. You can only change meta descriptions and title tags so much before you can't do any more. If you had 5 pages on your website and you change all the title tags and meta descriptions, it's not going to do anything for you unless you have a lot of content on those pages. And if you've stumbled into this, you probably don't have the content because you probably haven't put all this together yet, which is understandable. So you're going to need the content. So either you, the SEO person or a developer or a copywriter, is going to need to create that as well. So understand that if you're not hearing all this from your SEO person, you need to do more research and you need to think about that. And if you are an SEO person and you're not telling people this, you're doing them a disservice. So these are just a lot of thoughts that I've experienced indirectly, directly, and there's like so much to this. And again, absolutely not a knock on the SEO industry and not a knock on anybody that is trying to, better their website through SEO. But there is just a lot of minutia to this that is somewhat unnecessary in a way, but it's when it really boils down to it, like I would start with, it's not complicated and it's really straightforward. But there is a lot of things on the back end that you have to understand. And I think here's my thought, okay? This is a hot take and maybe it's completely off. I think in my opinion, what happens with a lot of people is SEO service providers know all of these things, obviously, because they've done this stuff before if they're good. They get people into the monthly so they can, obviously I'm a big fan of monthly revenue, but there's no like accountability. There'll be like a good SEO person will have a monthly call at the end of every month. They'll explain your numbers, how you ranked that month, how you went up, down, whatever. But there's no, unless like they need to make more, if they do that, they absolutely need to say like, okay, for next month, here's what we need to do. Like you need to create 3 pieces of content or we'll create them or whatever. But I'm just saying like it's not tangible enough. in a lot of circumstances. I think a lot of SEO people play for the monthly, and then it's like there's no end. Like it's literally like it's indefinite. Like you're never going to stop SEO. You're just going to pay us forever, which in a way does make sense, but is super not sustainable. Unless you have a really good situation going on and you understand like who is strategizing, who's writing, who's implementing, you need to have all that set up. And if you don't have that set up, you're asking for disaster, asking for a bad relationship, because at some point your client or you, depending if you are the client or not, is going to wake up and you're going to be like, why am I paying for SEO services when my rankings aren't going up and I don't even really know what this person's doing? It's a tough spot. And again, it's not anything against SEO people. It's not anything against clients. It's literally just communication and transparency and taking an abstract thing and trying to make it as tangible as possible for people. And this is why like I almost feel called to do this, because I feel like this was just kind of off the cuff 25-minute video here. But like, I feel like if this was broken down a little bit tighter, and I actually had some visuals. I apologize, I didn't really have any visuals today. Like I feel like we could do a lot better than most in this industry that is Wild West seemingly. That's all I got. If you guys like this content, appreciate a like down there or whatever. But if you've thought about getting SEO, you're thought about providing SEO, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're already an SEO provider or a client of an SEO and everything I said didn't make any sense, please let me know. I'm happy to be proven wrong in the comments. But this is just personal experience and personal, experience of running an agency, and just like I said, indirectly and directly. So, thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I will talk to you in the next one.